Season 5 of Stranger Things had a lot of people disappointed, and honestly, I was thinking about it all day, and I'm like, you know what, let's make a video on this. So why not dive into it while I have a little bit of influenza here, and let's just dive into why Stranger Things failed, and more importantly, if you want to make a good movie, why you should actually make it good instead of write it down and spend a whole bunch of money on it. I'm just gonna say this right here, a lot of people who do like Stranger Things Season 5 are the people who is like, well, they paid $400 million, so you know what I'm saying? Or just the people who just tries to like it, and just sometimes I feel like they're like, you know what? I'm gonna try to like it because this is like a good show. But I will say there are a lot of people out there where they actually hate Stranger Things, and honestly, I do agree with that part. There are a lot of times where people hate with Stranger Things, and honestly, I do agree because sometimes it does get a little bit of hate than it really deserves. But in my opinion, I did feel like it failed in Season 5 and my own perception, and it gave me a lot of disappointments, and honestly, I just hated it. Like, it really did. For starters, it started off with a lot of plot armor. It started off with the Demogorgon. The Demogorgon either were powerful enough to destroy militaries, or weak enough to somehow, some way, get blasted off by a kick from a human. What's that about? What is it? What is it about? Just tell me, right? And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, this is a little weird because, you know, if you want to have a power dynamic, you don't want in one moment to be weak and then the next to be strong because of plot armor device and all that stuff. And it's kind of weird too because when you're looking at these types of stuff, it's like, how can I make the show good without making them have a whole bunch of plot armor? And they kind of did fail with that perception. Another thing I feel like they failed is they made every single character one-dimensional. Now here's the thing. There are like TV shows out there that characters are one-dimensional and they work. For example, Hinata is a really good example. From the beginning she was one-dimensional, but at the end she had some sort of development. Or maybe 1010, or Kim Convenience actually has a lot of one-dimensional characters, like Terrence. So Terrence from Convenience, for example, is one-dimensional because he's stupid, but it works. It works for the show. And I think what happened is when they wrote the show, I think they forgot the other character developments that they had, and it felt like every character was one-dimensional, making it play one specific part, but it didn't really feel like a character. It just felt like a person doing whatever for the sake of the story. And here's the thing, I'm not good at writing, nor I understand about it, okay? But I will say this, there were moments where they would give us a lot of information, and moments where they wouldn't. And this is a rare mistake Stranger Things or any TV show really does. For example, Naruto, right? Naruto spent all this time, you know, plotting for Madara, for all of this stuff. And I've actually read that people were angry when Madara got stabbed by Kaguya. And they have the right to be angry because there was no fight, right? And it kind of goes with, you know, the same thing with Stranger Things. Like, for example, the Mind Flayer, right? And actually, I'll get into that, but give me a second, okay? But what I'm saying is Stranger Things would give us so much, like we'll say, yeah, the Upside Down is with another portal, and it would give us so much information, and then there'll be times where it's like, why did nobody care about Max? Like literally, it's like, it's just a simple hug and that's it? Like really? Like, this girl been in a coma for almost 2 years now, and you're just gonna give her a hug? Like no chatting, no nothing, you know what I'm saying? And also she saw her boyfriend like one time playing the music, and like that kept like there was nothing going on with the entire show. It kind of felt like Madara in the Naruto fight where they were gonna battle, but there was just no battle. And here's the problem too. The Mind Flayer. The Mind Flayer was teased for almost 2-3 seasons, and now we don't see it anymore. Where is it? And here's the thing. Don't tell me it's towards the end, okay? I don't like that. I don't. And the reason is, if you're gonna tease something this big, and it's teased to the point where Vecna controls it, where, you know what I'm saying? And also Hawkins, you know, what happened to Hawkins? You know, everything turned into the Upside Down in season 4. That disappeared entirely. It disappeared entirely to the point where season 5, made Hawkins look like it wasn't taken over from the upside down. The mind flayer wasn't here, right? And the whole thing just felt like a complete 180 where they just ignored everything. Again, it feels like we are literally what it really does feel like is season 4 was a filler episode and season 3 were fillers. It felt like every season were fillers, and then season 5 would have almost let's say 3 or 4 episodes that's fillers, and then the rest is like, well, here's what's really going on. And that's what I felt like, right? And I just the entire plot not getting, the mind flayer, the Demogorgon, even Vecna himself, not really getting into these certain parts, felt like everything was just a waste of time, and it didn't really feel worth watching. And the reason why I don't want the mind flayer to start in the freaking end, right? I would rather the mind flayer, introduce it in season 5 in the middle at least. And the reason why I would like that is because the mind flayer does have a purpose, and that is it's a weapon for Vecna. And also Hawkins. What about Hawkins? What happened to Hawkins? And they didn't really explore that. See, here's the thing. I would rather watch a TV show that is 3 or 4 hours long per episode. Let's say 20 episodes. It's a lot, but I would rather watch that than a really bad show that is 1 hour long for no reason. And that's what it felt like. And I feel like the problem is when it comes with TV shows and when it comes with all of that, what happens is sometimes the game or whatever, YouTubers or whatever, they listen to the audience a little too much. I know that people were kind of angry that, I think season 4 and 3, they were a lot longer than the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things, and I know people were angry, so that's what they did, right? That's what the brothers did. They made it shorter. But I think them making it shorter kind of diminished the entire show's purpose. And this is why I feel like when you're a content creator, when you're whatever, right? The problem is you don't want to listen to your viewers. You don't, and that's the sad reality. There are times where yes, viewers give you good advice, and yes, you should listen to them. Like I would say 70% of the time, yeah, you should probably listen to them and take some advice then and there. But if you're gonna go on to a perception per one viewer, that's not, or like multiple viewers or whatever, just a perception of that viewer, then that's not gonna work. And I feel like that's what Stranger Things did, is everybody was like, you guys, you have to make it shorter because it was too long. But then I'm like, well, if you're gonna make it shorter, then the entire show would just be completely whack. And I would have been actually fine even them getting another season 6. And the reason is because they had so much hype on everything. They had so much hype on the Demogorgon. Bro, you don't know how strong they are. And then when they come with tanks and whatever, they're hella strong. But then with, you know what I'm saying? And, like the Mind Flayer, all of these stuff, I would actually watch. And I would actually see what's going on with Hawkins and with Max. And we did see some of that stuff. But even then, we just couldn't really grasp anything. And the thing is, season 5 didn't help us grasp anything. The matter of fact is, it just felt like it was a waste of time, and the entire show started off with a waste. And I'm sorry to say this, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate on this, but the thing is, I think it just started off with so much of a waste of time that we didn't explore anything. Like, I would rather them explore Hawkins, because remember season 4, Hawkins was turning into the upside down, and they ended off with this crazy looking thing. And then now, yeah, there's also other stuff that have been filmed but like couldn't be around, at least allegedly, so I don't know. Like I think like the original episodes, again, this is alleged, so the original episodes are like an hour and 43 minutes, an hour and 50 minutes, maybe 2 hours or something, I don't know, something like that. And honestly, that would actually explain why it just felt very empty and very soulless, because I feel like they just put it in, they just cut it out because they said it's too long for the viewers. And honestly, here's the problem. You don't want to always take the viewer's advice. I feel like there are times where you have to disobey to make good content. I remember a really great example is Brawl Stars. Brawl Stars, when it came out, right, it was just, you can play it like Clash of Clans or Clash Royale, right, where you can play it like this, so your phone would be like this and you're just playing it, right? And they switched it to this, okay? And they switched it, and people were like, no, I don't like this. It feels weird. And then after that, people were like, you know what? This actually might be good for in the game. And Brawl Stars actually disobeyed to make something good. Now, don't do what Clash Royale does, obviously. Disobey to the point where it's like greedy Royale. It's something, there's a balance, okay? There's a balance between the viewers and your decisions, and I feel like the brothers didn't do that. One last thing before I go, I also don't like the Stranger Things scene where Will tells everybody that he's gay. Now, here's the thing, okay? I have no problem with him being gay. I watch a lot of TV shows that introduces gay people. I have friends who are gay. I have no issue of people who are gay. Now, I may not support it, but again, I love gay people. I have no issue. I don't care. This is your lifestyle. As long as you're a good person, that's cool, literally. So I just want to put this out there. I have no issue with gay people, right? So Will coming out gay, that's not the problem. The problem is it was in the middle of a battle, and then he's like, I'm gay. And that's what made me a little bit angry. Now, imagine Naruto, okay? Now, this is why Naruto works instead of Will, okay? Naruto works because Hinata was going to sacrifice her life because she loved Naruto. But Neji did, and told Hinata to say, I love you to Naruto. And that's what she did. It was this immediate danger that they both always had a connection with, but Neji saved her life. That's why it worked. With Will, there was no endangerment. There was supposed to be a speech. I feel like if he wanted to be gay, or I'm saying if he wanted to say that he's gay, okay? If he wanted to say that I am gay, especially in the 1980s, I would have started out with the mom. I really would have. And he did a good job after that. But then I would also slowly, one by one tell everybody. And actually, instead of the mom, I would actually start with that one lesbian. That one lesbian, the main character. I would start off with her because I think she connects, right? And then it would slowly introduce, but obviously she knew that he was gay anyways. But as long as you start out with something, I feel like they should have added it something else. And the reason is I feel like they should have done it slowly is because this is the 1980s. We're not talking about the 2025 or 26. And I feel like they treated that a lot where it was more modern than old, if that makes sense. Sorry, I accidentally paused the video, but if that makes sense, right? So it did really feel like it was more modern than older times. And I think that's the problem with Stranger Things is just... there's just a lot of mistakes, and I felt like it was rushed, and in a way, like, I feel like $400 million was wasted, but it was just wasted for people being angry, and honestly, I do feel like it can be a little bit of improvements, and it can have a little bit of improvements, but even then, I feel like they should have done something a little bit more. But again, let me know what you guys think, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later, and honestly, listen, if you don't agree with me, tell me, and I'll listen. I'll listen. I'll see, and I'll comment. Okay, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.